The other day, I was on the way to horses, preparing their stables for the evening stay, when all of a sudden I physically felt like expressing a hug. Like my physical body was saying, I want to express a hug. Go hug. It was a pure physical expression, like the body asking me to move myself in and as the physical and express a hug. Now, the emphasis was not on the I want a hug or must have a hug in terms of a dependency. No, it was more like I'm going to express a hug right now. So it was within the starting point of a sharing, like the body really wanted to share a hug within the principle of give and receive. So I went to Desteni and shared a hug. And for a moment, the body was stable until I passed Maya's room and it was there again. And so I went to give Maya a hug and then the body was stable. Now, within this, I haven't before experienced the physical sensation of such an expression so prominently, but it was pretty cool. You know, how it came through the physical. No emotion or feeling, simply a physical sharing of a hug. It's not something you can create through the mind, that's for sure. It's really like the entire body within and throughout becomes this expression. It wants to express unconditionally. Nothing more, nothing less. Simply a moment of a hug. That's it. And obviously, how such an expression cannot exist in just any relationship, like walking up to strangers and hugging them, because it's not about the hug, but self-expression within and as and through the hug. And that self-expression, one in fact only discover within relationships with others that you have walked with yourself and with them for some time. Then later the evening, Maya and I were walking through some points, as her, myself, and Desteni often do. You know, walk through our day and discuss things and open points up. And a point of suppression opened up in Maya, and that very point was her process of walking this very self-expression in and as a hug, where she'd sometimes feel like simply expressing a hug or giving a hug or sharing a hug, but then the mind interferes and she doesn't. Then the point of self-expression becomes a suppression, and the mind internalized that suppression and made the hug to be more than or less than what it simply should be, a hug. So all in all, it was fascinating how this point opened up, and with me hugging the way that I did in that same day, also then presented the solution. A hug should simply be a self-expression, a physical movement of touch or sharing. That's it. In that, it makes the connection or moment real and physical between two individuals, because there's nothing more or less in the mind that is interfering. It is really two individuals coming together in that moment, expressing a hug. A real connection, if you will. So, furthermore, what opened up through this is that to be able to express such a hug, incorporates both an internal self-process and also one's relationship or process with another. It is truly fascinating how expression through the physical opens up without the mind interfering when one had walked a process with individuals for a long time. Understand, I'm now not talking about relationships, and I'm sure many listening now may have in a moment in their minds been thinking about relationships or connected this point to relationships. But again, the relationship point would limit such an expression, such a here moment, where there is nothing more or less in a hug but an actual expression, and you can feel that self-expression coming through in the physical when the mind is not there. And it's truly in that moment, in such moments, where you realize, why this process of stopping the mind and discovering self-expression within yourself, within the relationships that you walk this process with, is so worth it. So we'll continue more in the next interview, expanding on how to discover self-expression in relationships, where something as simple as a hug makes you realize what you've missed, with messing around in the mind or consciousness, emotions and feelings. Thank you.